sealed. Test, test. Very good, thank you.
Now, you push it toward. you, I understand. All right. Again, I wanted to remind you, and of course you know because you're here, that Jessica Girth, our administrative coordinator, will be the presenter today. And this is sort of a bittersweet month for us as she is going to retire at the end of October. And in that regard, I don't know if she'll be able to come and celebrate with us, but we have a beautiful cake downstairs as part of the thank you. Maybe we'll send her home with some. But anyway, so be sure when you have an opportunity to thank her and wish her well. She can tell you what her future holds. All right, I have some announcements, which I'm going to make at the beginning so that if I need to bail out, you will know what's what. So if you have your iPad or your paper and pencil like I usually have, I'm going to give you a bunch of days and events, okay? Coming up on Thursday, October 27, that's the fourth Sunday of the month, is our movie here in the sanctuary, 1 o'clock. And this month, it will be Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Some of you may know this is the movie of the woman who cared for a very wealthy person, saw all the lovely clothes and things she had a dream to have at least something like that, and so she goes to Paris. Thursday, October 27th. It's always the fourth Thursday, except probably Thanksgiving or something. The following month, in November, the movie is going to be Downton Abbey, A New Era. That's the later version. Thank you, November 17. Coming up also on the same day as the movie in October is Bingo at Advent. We're going to continue it over there, and that's from 10 to 11. And if you haven't attended, there are eclectic prizes. It's all I can say, eclectic. There's no charge to play, so, play at your own risk. No, actually, there's some very nice items. I would remind you that Tech Time is October 19th. You have to schedule it. The number is 314-664-9700. And it's from 8:30 to 1:30. That's the block of time. And this would probably be not one of the last, but it's going to be a while. Okay, yeah. And she can tell you why she's taking November off if you're not aware. All right. The library comes every other Thursday over at Advent, and I have no idea which Thursday they're on right now, if they're there or not. Are they there today?
No, it's now every other Monday, but it's working on it.
All right, so to be announced. Let's see, next month, the Lunch and Learn, second Thursday, here, 11 o'clock. It'll be the annual Medicare presentation where a party comes and explains ins and outs and changes and things. We're in that election period right now. And flu shots are to be determined, because we usually combine that. I want to remind you and beg you, maybe on both knees, to attend our November 6th fundraiser. This is our nice catered lunch with entertainment. Both should be extraordinary, and lots of the entertainment will be a lot of fun. We're getting started after 2 years off, so we really do need people to come and sponsor that and participate. It is a good time. It's November 6th, a Sunday afternoon at St. Justin. And then another Lunch and Learn for December is the Eighth Notes. This is the women's choral group that we've enjoyed. I've been told that they're a little smaller than they used to be, but they can still hit the high notes, okay? All right, so I think December 8th, Lunch and Learn. And lunch will be after this, elevator, staircase, downstairs. And there'll be some other things for you to look at on the table, like a reservation form for November 6th, and also a sheet that talks about, there's been some talk about who's eligible to vote and blah, blah, blah. We probably are all set because we're of a certain age, but there is a list in case you've got anybody who's a little concerned about whether they can vote. Amen. All right. Do you need? Okay.
Hi, everybody. So I'm wearing a mask. I tested positive last week. Both the boys are fine. I'm fine. But I tested negative yesterday, so I'm here today. I have a mask on. If anyone, wants to move back or anything else like that, please, do what's comfortable and what's best for you. And we have masks here. And there are masks and germy killer as well at the entrance to the sanctuary. So I will start with the personal stuff so we can get it out of the way. Yes, this is my last month here with Sage. I have had an amazing 8.5 years, 9 years in this position with most of you, a lot of new friends, and an amazing honor to be able to serve our seniors. And one of my very first lunch and learns, I spoke about why I do this job. And it's to honor my grandmother and my great-grandmother. My family came here in 1950 from Ukraine, and my grandmother passed away in 2019. And she lived in New Mexico. So I wasn't able to be a part of her life as she aged. And by working with Sage, I felt I was able to give back to my grandmother, even though she had other friends and family taking care of her there. I was able to honor her here in St. Louis, where I lived with my family. And until she was older, she would come here regularly. And one of her favorite things to do was go to Lone Elk Park and go mushroom hunting, because that's one of the things that she would love to do. And I was like, Nana, I don't think we're allowed to do that. She's like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, but this is in the 90s, so it was, it was okay. So with that, this is my last month. We are going to be adding a new family member. I'm going to be a grandmother. My oldest daughter is due in 3.5 weeks. November 8th is her due date. She sent us a picture. She's 35 weeks and, 30, big old belly happening. 36 weeks is what we got the other day. So that's one of the reasons for my retirement. She lives in Georgia with her husband, and in order for me to be a little more of an active role in that baby's life, I need to, have the flexibility to be able to jaunt to Georgia on occasion to be there. And then I know some of y'all have, it's been since COVID, but I was diagnosed with erosive hand arthritis. And does anyone know what that is? Most people don't. So what it is, it's literally erosion of the bone between my tip of my pointer finger and my knuckle. It's really painful, and it takes a lot of energy, and it's very rare. It's very rare in a woman my age, without any family history of it. So I'm doing physical therapy to attempt to gain strength back in my right hand. My right hand was half as strong as my left hand, and I'm right-handed when I started PT because I stopped using it. So that's another thing that it's definitely, kicked my stamina a little bit, and so I'm not able to be as productive for as long as I used to be, especially when I started Sage. But I'll be here in St. Louis. I'm still going to be doing Tech Time. We'll be doing it twice a month except for November, because that's baby weight month. And I will be, because in December we have 2 bingos, because we have no bingos in November. So the December bingo is the 1st, and then it'll be the 29th. I'll be hosting the bingo on the 29th also. So just so you know, I'm not, disappearing into thin air. You just won't see me on a very super regular basis. So, does anybody have any questions about that?
How about a standing ovation?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. You don't have to stand. Yes, I understand that. And so what I decided to do today is just share a bunch of resources that I've found through the years in this position. These are in no complete order, and the list is definitely not complete. These are just some different ones that, everyone, of course, we have St. Louis Community College that has a ton of things to do and classes. We have our list of our museums, which are amazing here in St. Louis, the History Museum, the Museum of Transportation, the Soldiers Memorial, the Arch. I can go on for days about the resources that we have for things to do here in St. Louis. But these resources are a little different. So the first one that is not written down, let me tell you about it. Some of these are specific to geographic areas, so I'm going to start with that. This one is the Melville Community Mobile Paramedic Program. If you are covered by the Melville Fire Protection District, you can live in areas of Sunset Hills, areas of unincorporated, like next to Crestwood. Those areas, you'll know if you're covered by Melville Fire District. If you are, they have an amazing program it's mobile health care. And what they have the ability to do is to come to your house, and if you come home from surgery or you get released from the hospital and you come home, they have the ability to sit and talk to you and look at your medications, look at the physical therapy that the doctor has prescribed, and see what else they can help you with and assist you with. They can take vitals, and they can check your blood sugar, they can check your heart rate, they can run a monitor, they can do those kind of things. They're not meant to replace 911. If you're having an emergency, you always dial 911, but they are just there to assist your doctor and assist you being safe at home. So the phone number for that is 314-487-2222.
Could you say the name of it again?
It's Melville Community Paramedic Program. They're a fantastic resource. They're just absolutely wonderful. I can't say enough really great things about them. But you do have to live in the Melville Fire Protection District, for that service. So the next few things on the sheet focuses on transportation. So transportation is near and dear to my heart. You all got here, so that's fantastic and that's great. But for folks that aren't as mobile, there are some transportation services that are available. This first one, ITN Gateway. I learned about ITN right after I got involved in SAGE. ITN was started by a mom whose son was injured by a senior driver. It's meant to keep our seniors to have as much independence as long as possible. And it's a network where it's ride sharing. You can donate your car, and that's how you pay for transportation. The ITN network programs have ride sharing programs. They have programs with different groceries and different shopping centers and different shopping areas. Right now, they are not in South County. They are in Creve, everywhere else. They are right on top of 44. They're just right there. But when I first started in SAGE in 2000 thank you. It's a long time ago. They weren't even in Missouri. So I'm really thrilled. And then when they first came here in 2018, they were only in St. Charles County. So they're getting closer. So I'm really, really excited about that. So this is one of those things, if you're interested or if you know someone that's interested, you can call and talk to them and see maybe we can get it down here in the South area. It's a fantastic program. I can't say enough good things about it. They started out, I want to say it was late 90s, early 2000s in the Northeast. And now I want to say they're in 10 states. So it's growing, but it's growing very slowly. But it's a fantastic program. If you have internet access, there's a ton of information on the internet about them, and you can see videos about their whole story and how they started and how they keep everything going. The other organization that does offer transportation, this again is a geographic area, but they do cover Crestwood and Kirkwood. They don't cover Sunset Hills, and that's Shepherd Center. Lots of people, are y'all familiar with Shepherd Center? They have classes, they have virtual classes, they have online classes, they have in-person things. You do have to be, there is an intake process to be a part of them. And that phone number is on here, so you can find that out. Shepherd Center is also a national organization. So they're actually headquartered in Kansas City. And if you do, spend some time on the internet, they do have some interesting things. We utilized them during COVID. Did anybody participate in the Call a Joke on Thursdays? The very beginning of COVID, we had Call in a Joke, and they would call you every Thursday afternoon and tell you a joke. And that was Shepherd Center National Organization. But they do those kind of fun things,
Do you know if they come to Oakville?
No. They have Kirkwood, Webster, and Crestwood, and Afton. They moved into Crestwood and Afton in 2019. So, because they now have 14 sponsoring churches. So, they're broadening their service area a little bit, but they are definitely pretty strict with their service area. So, and then I know some people have heard me talk about the County Older Residents Program, and I can't say enough good things about that. It's also called CORE, or CORP, C-O-R-P. They offer transportation. They are bound to mandatory or health-specific appointments only, pharmacies and doctors and things of that nature. They are not able to do social transportation, where ITN and Shepherd Center and some others are able to do social events, haircuts, nursing home to visit friends, and things like that. But the County Older Residents Program, they also have a home repair list. So when y'all call me and say, hey, I need someone to put up a grab bar, or I need someone to fix this, I reach out to the County Older Residents Program and say, this is my zip code, who do I have that can do this? Everyone that's on their list are background checked and bonded and insured. So I know that by using their information and using that information that they're giving me, they've done the legwork, and you're going to get a real good, honest person. They do request feedback when a referral is given, and if someone does use the service, the county does request feedback from that, and they utilize it. So keep that in mind. They're a fantastic organization. If you call, they may not answer the phone. They usually will get back to you within 48 hours. So always leave a voicemail. You can email them if you want to do that as well. That works just fine as well. But be patient with them. It is a county service, so have a little grace with a turnaround time. And Okay, they also do the tax prep. And so once a year, it's joined with AARP. The last couple years, we've had issues with it because they haven't had enough volunteers and things. So it's been a very, very tight appointment times. That information is always up on the website. And so that information is also, it doesn't change year to year. The same phone number is to call and make those appointments if you need help with any kind of tax prep. The County Veterans Program. Again, it's the same thing. It's another county program. But if you are a veteran, if you have family, friends, neighbors that have questions, please reach out. Dealing with the VA as an independent human is very challenging. I've had to do it myself, and it is very challenging, and a heartache and a headache, and very tedious. I definitely highly recommend reaching out to the County Veterans Program or reaching out to Veterans Home Care, reaching out to another organization to assist you in talking directly to the VA. You have to have a lot of tenacity and a lot of patience and very good note-taking skills as well to talk to the VA independently. But there are benefits that are available, but a lot of people don't use them because they don't know that they're available and they haven't put forth the effort to and the work to maintain and get those benefits that have definitely been earned. Okay, so downstairs I'll ask Mary and Bonnie to put the little bags. You all know the little black bags I'm talking about, the little medication disposal bags. So that's one thing that's near and dear to my heart, and I know y'all are probably sick of hearing about it, but I'm going to talk about it again. So NCADA, on the next page, you'll see it's now called Prevent Ed. So it's prevention and education is the hope and the drive and the mission for alcohol and drug abuse. One of the problems that we have in our country is we don't clean our medicine cabinet because, we may need those medicines one day. But that's how sometimes they fall into the wrong hands because we have either nosy neighbors or hyperactive, nosy teenagers or our very own children that may be dealing with issues that we're not aware of. It is best to always clean out our medicine cabinets and make sure that medications that's expired, medications that, when you go to the doc and they give you one script and then you take it for 2 days and they call you and say, oh no, never mind, let's change that, let's try this other one. So you've got 12 different bottles of full medications and you call the pharmacy and you say, hey, and they say, no, we don't want it back. So it's just sitting in your medicine cabinet. Please try to dispose of it properly. The Prevent Ed, there's a phone number that you can call. They are able to tell you where you can where drop-off locations are for medications. Here, thankfully, we have Sunset Hills Police Department. Yeah, and they are anytime, and you walk in, and they're absolutely wonderful and fantastic. But know that, those places are available, as well as the little black pouch. You cut the lid off, you put in the meds, you put in water, and you seal it up, and then it's safe to dispose of in the trash. So please, 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 always make sure. When you change the clock and you check your fire battery, your fire alarm battery, clean out your medicine cabinet, all the same time, and it keeps a good flow. Then you don't have to overwhelm. Sometimes once I had to take 2 boxes of medications, and it was like, they're like, what is this from? And I'm like, sorry, So, another organization that I know some of y'all have heard me talk about, the St. Louis Society for the Blind and Low Vision, visually impaired, is what they're called now. An amazing organization. I cannot say enough good things about them. We think that we don't need to reach out to them until we absolutely can't see anything. I call it black blind, when we're black blind. But that's not the case. That's not the case at all. One of the things that they are able to do, you call and you say, hey, this is my vision level. And they say, okay, let's make an appointment and let's come by and visit. So they come to your house and they talk. And they may ask for a document from the doctor that says, this is what your prognosis is, or your, that information, the medical information about your vision. But then they're also able to help you by putting these little orange nubs on your stove, because everyone knows that, you start out at 350 and you're either a little less or a little more, and you're able to turn on your stove and not burn down the house and know when it's turned off. And that's one of the huge big things about low vision, is losing the ability to be independent. And that's one of the ways. The other thing is, how many people iron their clothes? Okay, I do iron, so but lots of my seniors iron. And one of the big things, and no one's ever going to admit to it, but when we have low vision, how do you think you figure out how to plug something in? Because you put your finger in the outlet. They put in, again, these amazing little orange nubs. I don't have any to show you, but it's just a tiny little piece of rubber that they double-sided tape to the outlet so they can feel where to plug in the iron. And it's simple, and people with vision take that for granted, totally take it for granted. And they don't have to do it to every plug in your entire house if you don't want it, but the plugs that you normally use or you would regularly use for different things is one of the things that they can do it to. They also offer transportation. They have a couple different transportation programs. At the building itself, they have a store, which is amazing. I have clients that have a watch, and the watch will tell you what time it is. And it's not an iWatch, or it's not connected to a cell phone or anything funny like. It's just an old-fashioned watch that talks, as well as an alarm clock that will tell you what time it is. It's voice act. Again, it's not connected to anything, and you don't need internet, you don't need anything else. It's just a clock, but you touch it and it tells you what time it is. Or it can tell you what time it is every hour. They also have the ability to do some therapies. Excuse me, I need a drink. Sorry. Oh, goodness. And they have the ability to do some therapies. And they do provide transportation to their facility. Goodness. For some of their vision therapies that they offer. So, it's an intake process. They do, come out and visit and talk. But I have not heard anything negative. I've only heard complete accolades from folks that I have sent there to work with them. And one of the things that they have turned me on to, I think it's the next one, yes, Wolfner Library. Is anyone familiar with the Wolfner Library? Okay, I wasn't until this job. And it is the most amazing, one of the most amazing things that our state offers. It is an audio and a braille library. And besides, they offer virtual classes and in-person classes, but they also have the ability to literally send you in the mail straight to your house, either a braille book or an audio book. And it's an audio book, and it's not, again, it's not on an iPhone, it's not on some fancy gadget, it's a box, and it's not even a cassette tape. You just put it in. It almost kind of looks like, is it an 8-track that was the rectangle? Okay, so it kind of almost looks like that. No, not a cassette, not. Yeah, yeah, smaller than a VCR. Exactly, it comes right in your mailbox. I mean, it is the most amazing thing, and for folks, especially folks that were avid readers, and then because of their vision, they haven't been able to read. And so if you're not able to drive and you're not able to read, that increases, of course, your sense of isolation. And if you're a book lover, I'm a big book lover, and if you're a book lover, you know how comforting and how involved you can get in a story that you're reading. And so the Wolfner Library is able to facilitate that and able to keep that love of learning and reading alive for so many people. Again, I haven't heard anything negative about them. You can tell them what you want to read. You can pick out what they send you, or they'll just send you random things. I haven't heard anything negative. The audio actors that they use, again, I've heard all fantastic things about them. I've listened to some audiobooks where I'm like, okay, that person is going to put me to sleep. I've heard really fantastic things about the Wolfner audiobooks. So again, if you know somebody that can use that information, please share it. To attain the Wolfner books, there is an application process. It's not difficult, it's not challenging. The Society for the Blind is able to assist you with that if you do need that assistance. The application's available online, of course, or you can call and they can mail it to you. That's no problem as well. I think I added the phone number for Wolfner. Yeah. Let me take another drink. Sorry. Okay. Now we're moving on to, so it's not really in any kind of order, but it is a little bit. So now we're moving on to moving and grooving. House fit. And has anyone that's in this room utilized House Fit since COVID? Okay, so Dr. Beth Templin is a gal that says, she said, hey, people want to move their body and we need to help seniors learn how to move their body because their bodies are lasting longer. So she started a business. She has a few physical therapists that work with her as well, and they are able to teach you how to fall, work on balance and strength exercises. Yeah, you did. My goodness, girl. Hopefully Dr. Beth will come here, and when she does, I will come back for that presentation. I'll be in the audience like y'all. Just because I feel so passionate about falling properly, and keeping up our mobility. I meant to bring my Kansas soup, but that's one of my favorite things to tell people is, when you watch TV or when you're watching the news, so you don't have to, do it all the time. But if you watch the news twice a day, I watch the news twice a day. So if you watch the news twice a day, you get a can of soup. And the news is only on a half an hour, only watch for half an hour, but you get a can of soup, and you take your can of soup and you just hold it in your hands and you go back and forth. And these are little things that can help with your own coordination. You just move the can of soup in your wrist, back and forth for that half an hour that you're watching the news. You can put the can of soup on the floor or just an imaginary brick on the floor, and you just put your foot over it. Again, and that's muscle movement and muscle memory. And those are things that when we stop moving on a regular basis, when we are recovering from an injury, we start to lose that muscle. And I know so well now how fast it is, how fast it takes to lose muscle. But it really does. It really goes really fast. And again, I had no idea that I was losing as much muscle as I was. And it was only about a year. And it was absolutely gone. So those little movements, those little things. And Dr. Beth can tell you 1,001 other things to do. So they have a building, a location. Does anyone remember where Kmart was in South County? Kmart in South County? Okay, that's where they are. They're in that plaza on Lee May Ferry. So, but you can call and ask a ton of questions. They're absolutely fantastic. They're all very patient and work really well. I know some people have heard me talk about Rock Steady Boxing for Parkinson's. This is another fantastic organization. When I first started with SAGE, they weren't in St. Louis at all. And then they started with one tiny location on Watson, and now they have 2 locations, and they have classes at the Lodge in De Pere. They have classes 3 days a week, and in Fenton, in their standalone building, they have classes 6 days a week. If you have not done any research on Parkinson's, there is amazing evidence on the ability for non-contact boxing to overwhelmingly lessen Parkinson's symptoms and give some mobility back. And it is non-contact, so no one's getting hit in the face, no one's getting knocked out. And all of the trainers have been very specifically trained to work with Parkinson's patients. They're amazing. It's an amazing organization. It was started by a woman who was a nurse, and her father was a physician, and she was trying to figure out, how to help her dad, and he was trying to figure out how to get help. Like I said, when I first started here, we didn't have any in St. Louis, and now we have 2 locations. So that's pretty fantastic. They're on Facebook, they're on the internet. If you have the interest or ability, please reach out to them. Again, leave messages because they are individual coaches. So, I know a lot of them do have multiple jobs that they do. So leave messages, but they are a fantastic group and a fantastic organization. If you have anybody at all that's interested in learning about it or sharing Parkinson's information. Okay, one of the things that people ask me all the time is, okay, so I'm cleaning out this house, and what do I do with? So I have a couple lists in here. The Teachers Resource Center. Is anybody familiar with that? Teachers Resource Center, so it used to have multiple locations. One used to be in Lee May Ferry, but now it's only located in the Chesterfield Mall. But it is a huge space where people donate their crap. But not just their crap. People can donate their button collections. So you can, and if I'm a teacher, which I'm not, but if I'm a teacher and I teach elementary school children and we're making button picture frames for 200 people, I can go there and I can buy used buttons out of their resource center. Playing cards, puzzles, baby food jars, anything that you can imagine that people have collected or held on to because you're going to need it when, most likely the Teachers Resource Center will accept it. They're absolutely amazing. Playing cards, like I said, playing cards, puzzles that are missing pieces. They take all of that stuff because teachers will take that and use that for craft supplies and different things and be creative with it. And it's better than going into a landfill. What do I have on here? Playing cards, buttons, beads, containers, magazines, thread, sewing needles, glass jars with lids, mint tins. And I didn't know this, but thread deteriorates. Like through the years, you know, like I had a bunch of thread that I got, and I'm quilting now because I'm going to be a grandmother, so I think that's just what I'm supposed to do. And so I was using this thread, and it kept on breaking. And I'm like, well, this is malarkey. And then I figured out that it was thread that was like 70 years old. But the Teachers Recycling Center will take it. So that's fantastic. So when we're cleaning out, when we're downsizing, think about, you know, where these things can go. So any kind of collection that you can think of, most likely the Teachers Resource Center can use it. They're fantastic. You do have to take it to them. But, you know, call Sage and I'm sure I can figure that out. Or the new person will call me and I'll be able to figure, you know, do deliveries to the Teachers Resource Center. And then, of course, pets are near and dear too. So sheets, towels, blankets, trash bags, newspapers, dryer sheets. All the time I would get calls, I'm cleaning out a house and I have 12 sets of twin sheets. A lot of times Goodwill, you know, can only use so many, or the foster houses can only use so many, or they're required to have new purchase things. They're not able to accept used donated goods. But this is where, thankfully, Open Door Animal Sanctuary, a no-kill shelter in House Springs, and of course, the Humane Society of Missouri is able to accept those things. And they make dog beds, and there's Open Door Animal Sanctuary I'm very familiar with. They also have a feral cat shelter. So they're able to utilize all that kind of stuff. And they're very, very gracious and appreciative of it. So.
Do you know anybody who takes luggage? I called Angel Arms, and
Yeah, they can accept, yeah. And my husband is actually in the same boat. I don't have any place specifically.
I said, do you have any ideas? And she said no.
Yeah, because of those organizations want everything to be very specific and very uniform. You can do Salvation Army or Goodwill or one of those thrift places. And if you have antique kind of luggage, you know, that you can try and sell other ways, you know, for that whole decor thing. But yeah. Any other, yes, ma'am?
This isn't a question, but House Springs Open Door, they love for you to go and play with their senior cats. And the senior cats love it too.
They do. They are a no-leash place. I'm very, they are absolutely fantastic. And, you know, you have to pack a sandwich if you're going there, because it's all the way down. But they're absolutely fantastic, and they have a no-leash. They have a no-leash world. So their senior cats, their cats are roaming, and when you walk in the office, I mean, they're everywhere. Yeah. Yes, they are, and the dogs as well. They have amazing kennels, and to be a dog walker and things, you do have to be trained for that. But they do, you know, you can go out and walk the dogs, and it's a fantastic volunteer opportunity. But every dog except for our last one has come from Open Door. So, yes, ma'am. So you can show up to visit the cats. You can just show up. If you want to be a regular volunteer, you do have to go through the training process. But they do, you know, they have schedules, and you can volunteer as little as like once a month. They're a fantastic, fantastic organization. Okay, and so now the next part. The next few pages are a little peculiar, as you'll see. But this is part of my OCD world, and this is the things that people don't like to talk about. But these are the things that affect you in your life as you're alive and affect others in your life when you're not alive. Like having all your bills written down. Like that it's the water and that this is the account number and this is the phone number that you call. And the water shutoff is, in the front yard underneath the purple plant. And I have this taken out of my checking account on the 3rd day of every month. And what is the amount that they take out? And what year exactly did it was the last time I looked at this to make sure that everything's working and everything's correct with it. So this is just it's just a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be fancy. I tell people just get a notebook, just one notebook. And in their notebook, that's all they write in this one notebook. And they can, put it under their mattress if they want, but just have it all written down in one place. And it is so helpful for you in the event that you need the information and you don't have it. And I know as I'm getting older, I forget things or I misplace something. This way, it's all in one place. Or if I need help with something, I can say, hey, can you help me with this and take care of this for me? And hand over the notebook to someone and say, hey, I need help with this. And everything's right there. And so we're going to move on to one of my other favorite things. So everyone that's done tech time with me, almost everyone, has heard me fuss about passwords. So you'll see, again, my chicken scratch and the little pictures. And these are from the dollar store. And these are index cards. You can get them from the dollar store, too. You can put your passwords on anything that you want as long as you keep track of them somewhere and keep them all together. So if you do this nice little thing right here, it's all together, and it's very inconspicuous. Again, you can put it, in between your mattresses. Or you can hide in the bathroom linen closet, if you're worried about your own personal security, but write it down. Write it down, write it down, write it down. Everything that you do on your phone, everything that you do on the internet, requires a password and a username of some sort. They're not getting any easier. They're not getting any smaller. They're not getting any easier to track. For a long time, I tried to use one password for everything. And then, you have only want 4 letters or 4 numbers. So then what do you do, So please, dollar store, they're fantastic. These will be downstairs, so take them at will. I don't have any index cards, but the index cards as well, again, you can put them with your recipes. You can put them with the cotton swabs in the bathroom linen closet if you're worried about your security. Because I know every tech person on the planet will tell you never write down your passwords. And that's great if you're 15. So write down your passwords. Well, this is something else that everyone's heard me talk about. I don't know if y'all know, in my other life, we're getting close on time. In my other life, I was in emergency medicine. I was manager of education for a school where we trained EMTs, paramedics, and nurses and docs. So medical information is very important to me. I have stressed all the time to you guys the vial of life. So these will be downstairs. The most important thing is try and attempt to keep your meds list updated. If you do not take any medication, write down, do not take medication, because that is just as important. And if you don't write it down, if you leave it blank, they're going to assume that your list is just too big to put on the piece of paper. So if you don't take any medication, write down, do not take any medication. Okay, these will be downstairs as well. So the Vial of Life that started in the 90s was literally like this garden, it was a garden container. It was a cylinder. And you were told to put it in the refrigerator or the freezer. I still have one. And you fill the piece of paper and you'd roll it up and you'd put the cylinder in your fridge. Now they're telling you to put this in a Ziploc bag and use the little sticker to stick it on the outside of the fridge. And EMS, usually one person in the team will go, let me go check the fridge. Or,
Is that where you're supposed to put it?
yeah, on the fridge.
Yeah, but where do you put that?
In a Ziploc bag.
In?
Yeah, in a Ziploc bag, and then you tape the Ziploc bag to the fridge with this sticker.
Oh, so the outside.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then it can, yeah. If you buy a kit costs $5, and they send you 2 pieces of paper and 2 stickers. And 1 sticker's for the window and 1 sticker's to stick it onto the fridge, in your little Ziploc bag. But again, very important information. Attempt to keep your med list updated. Med lists change. And as one of our members can attest, one of the things that is very important to list is if you're on any kind of blood thinners. That is very, very important because it affects lots of other things in your body chemistry. So please, med lists updated, Vial Life stickers. These will be downstairs for y'all. We're almost done. I promise. Now, nobody really likes to talk about this. But I could talk about these 2 things for days. Your life and your death. There is a list of resources here, and the Missouri Bar phone number is here. We have the ability to email you or print out for you if you request the senior handbook, or if you are in the process of taking care of and tidying up your loose ends, you can call the Missouri Bar Association. I do not personally recommend grabbing someone out of the call or grabbing someone that's advertised somewhere. They're paying for that advertisement, literally. If you call the Missouri Bar, they are able to give you a more direct referral. Whatever their advertising budget is what's gonna, get their larger plat or larger square or what have you in the call. And in these situations, when we're making these arrangements, it is very important that we have someone that we trust or someone that can understand all the ins and outs. I've lived a life in this world since 2005. And so it's very near and dear to my heart. And I've spent lots of time and lots of gray hairs on the phone and dealing with trusts and lawyers and all of that fun stuff. So please find someone reputable, find someone that you trust, and then make sure that your people have their contact information as well. Because after the fact, that's also very important. And then, of course, we come to what I like to call your last word. Our death is our last word. How we choose to celebrate and memorialize our life is our last word. I love my children, but I'll be damned if they're going to have my last word. I've also had to plan funerals. I was way too young to plan the first funerals that I've had to plan. It is not fun. It is not enjoyable. There is absolutely nothing that was positive about that process. I am grateful that we planned as much as we did, but I had to plan the funeral that my children were going to attend, and that was going to be my children's last memories. So the more that you can have your last word, the absolute better. The better for yourself, and the better for your family, and the better for your friends. We just recently, this last weekend, actually had a funeral for a dear parishioner and an active sage person, and he took, the program from church. He took the church program of someone that had passed, and he used whiteout and tape, literally, tape and paper, and he put his name on it. And he cut out a psalm, and he taped his psalm in there, and he wrote notes all over this old program from, I think it was 2005 or 2015 or something like that. And that's what the priest had and his wife had to be able to plan his service. And it was awesome and beautiful and heartfelt. And it was him, and it was his handwriting and his notes and his love to us that we were able to see and share. So, make it your last word. Don't let it be someone else's. Because the only two things you can guarantee is death and taxes. So definitely make it be your last word. And if nothing else, there's my little list of what you need for a death certificate, because they ask all these crazy questions. And you wouldn't think that if someone is 97 years old when they pass away, that they would still need to know their mother's maiden name. But you have to have that on a death certificate. So that's it. Make it your last word. This is my last word for Sage for this Lunch and Learn. Yes, Carol. Yes, please.
I used to work for an estate planning and elder law attorney, and the biggest favor you can do your children and your family is to plan your own funeral, so that, because they're heartbroken, and the harder it is for them. If you can make those decisions ahead of time. So we can all hear. Okay. If you can make those decisions ahead of time, you're doing them a great favor. And if you have any special requests, write them down. Let your children know, let your family know. I had a friend who told me, I want doves and I want so-and-so to sing. And I said, write it down, because your kids don't know that. If you want a certain dress or a certain suit, write it down so they know what your wishes are. And if you call the Missouri Bar, ask for an elder law or estate planning attorney so that you get a specialist, because you don't necessarily need a work comp or personal injury attorney doing your last will and your documents. And most of those elder law attorneys are very kind, and they enjoy working with older people. Yeah. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions?
Good advice.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate your time. And, again, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here in St. Louis. I just won't be here and, visible every day and every month. But Sage will be, and Mary and Bonnie and the board and Father Bill and Pastor Jill are awesome and amazing, and, are moving on into our post-COVID world, just like Pastor Jill had said. We're getting our groove back, and this is, we're all figuring it out. So enjoy your lunch, enjoy my cake. I know they're sending me home with a piece. Yes, Yvonne?
I just want to ask, why is Advent pulling out of Sage?
100% honest, we don't have the availability for our anybody to be on the board. Our parishioners, a lot of our parishioners that were active before are non-mobile now. So. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's amazing when I think of the people who attended our November fundraiser 3 years ago, and how many are not with us,
yeah,
are not no longer involved. That's why you're here, you're alive, please come.
yeah, and it is, I haven't done a tally, like, to see, but I mean, this year alone, we had 4 funerals, I think, 5, no, like 5 sage funerals, this year alone, um, no, no, it's a people thing. Yeah, it's a, yeah. Yeah, no, it's a people thing. Advent literally does not have anybody to be on the Sage board. Well, I couldn't be, you know what I mean? I couldn't be a parishioner and an employee at the same time. So, in the process, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, in the process. So, yeah, no, valid question. Yes. Right.
Almost every organization is recouping and building.
Exactly. Yeah. It's November 8th. November 10th. December 8th. Yeah, a claim representative, who we've had I don't know how many years now, we've had a claim rep come. That's correct. A claim representative is from the state, they do not represent any other insurance companies or anything like that. Yes. So, very good. I do. Thank you. Enjoy your day. Of course.